Hey, my flower friends. It is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I adore talking about what I'm going to talk about tonight, and that is how I take care of seedlings and um, just kind of love being in the presence of seedlings, talking about them, showing them off. These are definitely the show off guys. You know who this is? This is the overachiever is what I always call this seedling. This is stock for anybody that's a flower grower. That's a really important, particularly Mother's Day flower for us. And you just get incredible germination, and they're great growers. And we'll talk more about that. So, friends, if this is the first time we've connected, my name is Lisa Mason Ziegler, and I'm the owner of the Gardener's Workshop. And I've been a professional flower farmer for the past 25 years, but now I'm on a mission, and that mission is to help empower people to grow flowers, and particularly people that are like me, that didn't have what you needed, didn't know much, but just had a dream and wanted to do it. And so that's kind of what I spend a lot of my time demonstrating, sharing what's going on here on my little flower farm, demonstrating what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and providing resources. And so tonight I'm going to talk about some of my favorite cool flower seeds that are on my seed starting list right now, or on my calendar that are in process, right? You just saw some. I'm going to talk about my seedling care schedule, how my work week is with taking care of seedlings. I am the head seedling caretaker here on the farm, and I always have been. I think that is one of the most important roles on a farm. You know, if you don't start them and grow them up and see how they're coming along, you might not have anything to plant, right? And then I want to talk about what we are being inundated with questions about, and that is this big snowstorm that's coming into on the east, and particularly places that aren't used to getting maybe a lot of snow, like me. We're forecasted potentially to get 12 inches, and I'm going to talk about what I'm doing here on my farm with cool flowers, and we will talk what my storm plan kind of is, So, not everybody even knows what I call them cool flowers. Cool flowers is the name of a book that I wrote like 14 years ago, Cool Flowers, which is about a family of flowers that are cool season hardy annuals. And their jam, their secret sauce to really do well with them is finding the time that you're supposed to plant them for your garden to provide them with cool to cold conditions, particularly while they're getting established. And that's what you can learn. If you've never heard of this before, if you weren't sure about cool season hardy annuals, which is where we all were, our grandparents knew when to plant cool season hardy annuals. They were just so connected to their gardens, right? I had to literally research back in 50 and 60-year-old books to even learn about this concept. I have merely rekindled what we used to do. And this little book will really get you able to wrap your head around it, right? So the little Cool Flower book will really walk you through what the concept is, which is finding when you're supposed to plant this family of flowers that really prefers, and there's actually vegetables and herbs that fall into this family too, y'all. When you're supposed to actually plant them. And then it walks you through, because gardening in farming is very different in cool to cold weather. I mean, very different. And this kind of introduces you to some of those things. And so, if you've never joined me for one of my live gardening shows, you may or may not be able to see down below this video, there's a ribbon of some of the items that you're going to see me show and talk about that you can shop at any time. If you're watching me on a phone, you may need to close the actual comments to be able to see it. But anyway, so everything is down there right below. And the thing that we love about offering my books is that we actually provide a bonus with all of my books when you buy them from us. The Cool Flower book comes with a video book study which kind of is a behind the scenes, a little bit more what I was talking about. And so that's kind of fun. So that comes with it. And I totally love signing books for you guys. And so once you get your feet wet and you learn a little bit more about these cool season hardy annuals, and you've maybe grown some, based on the foundation book, the next step with cool season hardy annuals, maybe to have more wisdom to apply to what you're doing, is my book, The Cut Flower Handbook. This book actually incorporates cool and warm season annuals. It really walks you through, particularly, if you want to grow a cutting garden, the Cut Flower Handbook answers every question you have. It really helps you to understand how a cut flower garden works, why, if you set it up like a cut flower garden, not a landscape, it's so much easier to take care of, and it provides an amazing abundance of flowers. And then it also walks you through helping you to embrace. I don't like using the word succession planting because it's gotten such a bad name. People have complicated succession planting so much that most people just forget about it and just go helter-skelter, right? And just plant willy-nilly, whatever you want to call it. But I'm telling you, it can be it is so basic. And this book is one of the real, I guess, messages of this book that I wanted people to get is that how anybody can have flowers from early spring right up till fall frost. And you do that by planting a couple, 3 times. And this book helps you to delineate when your planting times are. In addition, it features 66 flowers. This is really a beautiful book, y'all. If you've never, I don't know if I've ever shown y'all this over here. This is the table of contents page. The photography is amazing. And of course, I grew all the flowers that are in there, and my sister took some of the images. Look at these bells of Ireland. I mean, everybody wants to grow bells, right? I was the proudest person ever when I grew bells. This book also comes with a bonus. When you purchase it from us, it has a PDF download that includes the 6 flowers that we could not fit in the book. There's never enough pages, y'all. Never enough pages. So those resources can really help guide you. And the thing that I'm doing right now, I don't know how you plan your garden out. And I think this is the way that I actually learned how to succession plant. And I learned it from another farmer about 17 years ago. And it was by planning my garden on a big oversized calendar. And by doing that, it so simplified the whole succession planting as I developed my kind of method of doing that. So she introduced me to the giant calendar. And then as I started okay, when am I supposed to plant my first warm season? All right, let's put that down. All right, so when would I start those seeds? You count back and you write when you're supposed to start starting seeds and what seeds are those. And then you start building this amazing, clear plan that comes through. Now, I use spreadsheets too, y'all. This is a totally different tool, and I'm going to show it to you. So for 15 years, I don't know if you caught in the shorts here or every year at this time, and now that we're getting ready to have a snowstorm hit us here, it's a perfect time for me to step back and plan my garden. I was showing in one of the shorts, I have 15 years of these big calendars of how I sit down in January and plan my year of seed starting. Well, actually, first I plan planting windows. Then from that, I plan my seed starting. And then I start filling in the cracks with other stuff. When am I supposed to order plugs? When do I start cool season hardy annuals, but I want them to bloom in the fall? When do I plant like kale, ornamental kale? When do I plant the biennials? All of this stuff, it's like, okay, I can do this in January when I'm not overheated and exhausted. So I did that for 15 years, and each year I pull them all out and review them and pat myself on the back because it's just so good to look back and see all the stuff we've done, right? And then last year, we actually were able to secure somebody to actually make us print a big jumbo calendar like I've been using every year, but to add all of my instructions to it. And I think that this is what it looks like. This is the instruction page. This is my guide to 9 different planting windows. Then the rest of this is how to start to set up your seed starting schedule. And this calendar is for everybody everywhere, because these are like the equations. I tell you, count back this many weeks from whatever your first or last frost date is. It's like you figure out and create your own custom planting plan, y'all. And I can't tell you how all of a sudden clear it comes that you can succession plant, you can figure this out, and it really spreads out the work and smooths out the craziness of the up and down. So the big calendar journal, which is available, we still have quantity. I mean, y'all, we are blowing through pallets. I'm so very overwhelmed. We had lots of pre-orders. So we have a lot of people that are already using the calendar. And it's not like a baby. It's not like something you've put out there in the world. It's different than a book. You know, I've written 3 books. This calendar is interactive and is more transforms people very quickly. The calendar, when you place your order, it also comes with, there's a QR code on the calendar right here. And that QR code takes you to a page. And on that page, there is a video workshop of me walking you through the 9 planting windows. See, once you figure out your planting windows, then everything else falls into place. Then you can sit down with your calendar with your planting windows marked. And then the other thing that's on that page is a seed starting worksheet. You can sit down with this worksheet and 100% plan your entire seed start. This has 66 of my favorite flowers on here. It has all the information that you need. And the big calendar journal is definitely a great guide. It's a plan. But the other thing that it is that I'm a journaler. I don't journal like people think I journal. I make notes every day and I have 30 years worth of journals, right? And I never was really able to create a farming gardening journal that was actually useful, meaning that you could actually refer back to it to help jog your memory or to remind you of something or to just revisit. This calendar does that for me. And I share on the last page of the calendar my tips on how I write on the calendar, meaning like on Saturdays, I write specific things in the Saturday column. And I write my seed starting on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday columns. And that way you know exactly where to look when you're looking for a specific piece of information. You don't have to look through pages after pages. And the big calendar journal is $39.95, which is pretty amazing considering how much information it's actually going to give you. And then I did want to just show you this. This is what and this is big. It's 20 by 30. And the reason it's so big is so you actually have room to write and then be able to read it later, y'all. This is what one of the months looks like. And it's an any year calendar, by the way. You write the dates in, right? So you can start at any time. But look how big one day is. This is one day's box. You have room. At the bottom of every month, I have additional tips. Each month has a different theme. This is sow and grow. This is May. The big calendar journal is not just a big calendar, is what I'm trying to tell you. It is a guide on how you can succession plant, and then it grows into what will be an incredibly powerful and useful planning tool for the future. So that's what really walks me through how to set up my plan every year. I just don't forget anything. I don't overlook anything. And anyway, would love for you to have one. So let's look at some seed. I'm going to show you some seedlings that go along with some of the flowers that I've started. We have more, but I thought I'd give you a little showing. I don't know if about y'all, but I love growing stock. I have 3 different stocks that are kind of floating to the top for me. Actually, they put more than 3. Let's see. We have several. All right, let's look. This is apricot, y'all. Apricot is a hot color, especially if you sell to florists and event people. But I also love this. This is the iron pastels mix. This is a really sweet color. And, the thing about stock, if you've never grown it, first off, remember, y'all, I grow everything outdoors. I don't have any houses at all. And I grow beautiful stock. The key with stock is that you have got to get it planted on time. So we plant it for very early spring. So Cool Flowers actually has 2 primary planting windows. There are a couple of others, and they are fall is big, and then very early spring is for everybody. You plant in the fall those things that survive your winter. Stock is a little bit on the fence for us, but we plant it in very early spring. This is the first seed that we start of Cool Flowers in January, because you want to get stock in the ground and growing on time for your very early spring planting window, because stock, once it gets hot outside, it's not growing up anymore. It's going to stay short, right? So our goal is to have my very early spring planting window, which is 6 to 8 weeks before my last spring frost, is mid-February to March 1st. This is the first transplant that I want. This is Cat's Pink. That's another great one. And I love this one, y'all. This is Ruby. That was Stevie's mom's name. And this is a really deep Julie color. It's really, really pretty. But our goal is to get stock in the ground, very first transplant for very early spring, because then we have it for Mother's Day. It has fragrance. People love stock. And then this is another group. So let me show you some seedlings. So this is my stock. I have like 8 trays of this stuff in there of different colors. This is the pastels mix that I just showed you. Stock is an overachiever. It definitely loves germinating. And so it's a great one to get started. Now I'll show you this one. I'm going to show you straw flowers now. Straw flowers, we don't fall plant that at all. We only plant it in very early spring. And it is an underdog, y'all. It's so underused. For anybody who doesn't know what it looks like. It is born dried. It dries just like this color. And there's several different colors. And it saves us in summer when our zinnias maybe get diseased or get zinnia meltdown, or we just don't have enough of them. Straw flowers are an incredible bouquet ingredient. And so this is the silvery rose, which is just a great color, right? Love this. So, and then here, I'll just show you the rest of them. There's white. I mean, who has ever said they've had enough white flowers? Not ever here. And I will also, so this is really too late to be cutting it. That's what it should be doing in your customer's vase or later on. This is how it should look. You should barely see the center. That's when you actually cut it. This is the vintage white, which is kind of a real clear white. Love that. Now this one, don't grow a lot of it, but it's a great color. You don't need but so much dark. But then again, I do succession plant straw flowers, y'all. That's the tip of the night. So I plant it, the first one in very early spring, and then I stretch it out every 4 to 6 weeks. While they prefer to be established in cool to cold weather, they perform in the heat of summer. So even when you plant those later successions, I usually do 2 more. They won't grow as tall, but I'm telling you, the ones I plant in very early spring are like chest tall. So these still get tall enough. This is called purple red. And this is a great color, but you don't want a ton of this because it's just dark, right? And then look at this one. Orange is my favorite color, y'all. And this burnt orange, and see, this is way late right here. I'm just looking for one. There's not a good example that you can see. They're buried down in there. That is the orange. And then this is a color that everybody can use all of the time, golden yellow. So all of these separate colors are available. And then there's also a mix. And so here's a perfect example. This is stage to harvest. This is a goner. So what happens if you cut them like this? I mean, they might be all right in a fresh bouquet for a week, but if you want to dry them, which is what so many people want to do, this will be dark. And I think there was actually a good, you can't maybe tell. This is so dirty, y'all. It's brown around the edges because it was too wide open. This is how you want to dry them. That way the petals are what shows. And it's so pretty. And then look at this color, copper red. This is really a cool color, but it's also kind of dark. See how it starts down here? And then this is, I think this is the one. Nope, it's not. This is peach mix. This got some, look at the pale colors, a little bit darker. That's probably stage to harvest. And see, these have opened. Once they start opening, they continue. So we try, for drying purposes, try to get them when they're pretty tight. That's pretty. Now, this one I want to show you. This is my favorite of all of them. These are the seedlings. And don't ask me why did these few just start before all the brothers and sisters did. I just never know the answer to that, y'all. But look how great the germination was. And this one is bright pink, which is this. Y'all, this is the best color. It's like such a popping color. Everybody loves it. Great bouquet ingredient. So straw flowers are keepers. I start all the colors, grow all the colors, always have. It's just a great one, right? So that is straw flowers. And I don't have any of my, because these are still cracking, Didiscus. Do y'all grow that? Didiscus comes in 3 colors. Blue, white, and the lacy pink. I really love the pink because there's not really another one this color. Didiscus is, we only fall planted. I'm in 8A. I'm right on the edge of where it'll winter over. It's slow to germinate. Mine are just popping now. Everybody else has already been born. And then here comes these slow pokes. But they're coming. So Didiscus is a really fun one. And then y'all look at this. Does anybody recognize these? Okay, I'll show you. One of my favorites, Billy balls. So this is the sun ball, which the balls are bigger. And these dry looking just like this, but they are knockouts fresh in a bouquet. I mean, these are always in demand. Love this one. It is a perfect, very early spring. So all of these are cool season hardy annuals, y'all. And if you haven't already started them, perhaps, you need to figure out when your window is and if you still have time, because it just extends your spring blooms even longer if you fall planted, right? So let me see where I am here. Now I want to just show you a couple other seedlings here. So this is cress. You can find this on our store too. This is cress green dragon. This is the funnest. You grow it for the seed pod, y'all. Don't cut it for the flower. And look how big and healthy these are growing in the 3/4 inch block. And look how healthy and happy these are, y'all. This is 20 in this tray. It's telling you soil block's pretty amazing. And I had these two. These are 2 other excellent candidates. And again, you can find this. See, this is Godicia, or actually they call it Clarkia now. And this is Grace. It's the Grace series. This is the lavender. She is a great, very early spring planter. And y'all, scabiosis. Look at these. This is 100 of the small blocks. And these were all started like January 6th, January 7th. So they're all getting ready to hit the ground running and be ready to be planted in just a few weeks, right? All right. So I wanted to show you guys how I make soil blocks and show you the little tool and everything. And so I've been soil blocking for almost 30 years now. And it's just a great way to start seeds. This is what the soil block, this is mine, so it's pretty dirty, but this is what the soil blocker looks like. And we use flat bottom trays with no drainage holes so that we can do this anywhere indoors. and not worry about drainage. And y'all, I use a potato masher, and you know that I broke the first potato masher I started with 30 years ago last week. I was doing a show and it broke right in the middle. This is just an old potato masher, and it is the best for mixing the soil and the water together. That's one of the things that's really different about soil blocking. So let me just show you. Let me bend you down so you can see. And so this blocking mix is much wetter than what most soil blocking or seed starting mix is. So you hold the blocker stationary. Let me bring that up just a little bit. Hold the bar and just push it down into the mix a couple of times. I like to do it twice to make sure that I have filled the chamber, and then I just use the potato masher to strike off the bottom to make sure it's flat. And then you just place the tool on the tray, give it a squeeze, and just that quick, y'all. You just made 20 containers. They never go into any kind of container. They grow. We sow a seed in each block. They grow up in this block. This block, 98% of the time, is what is planted out in my garden. They're not bumped up or planted up, and it does really, really great. So that is how you actually soil block. And so I'll just show you again. I mean, it's like these little billy balls. There's 100 of those little blocks on here, y'all, and they will grow full size in this block and be planted outside. It is surprising. And again, I want to say, look at these. These are way past being planted. This is Cress. He has been a little display tray for me, and they just, because they're not in a container and their roots get so much oxygen, that it's just a really healthy environment for them to grow in, and works out really, really well. Now, I want to show you some of the other accessories, a couple, and then I'm going to show you what my weekly schedule is for my seedlings. And I moved my phone so I know where I am. So these trays that we use, they are foam, but they're not disposable, y'all. We use them literally for years. They come in different sizes to accommodate whatever number of seeds or blocks you're making for a specific seed starting. And they come in 5-packs and 25-packs. We just wash them up, use our tape to ID them, masking tape with our marker, and just keep using them over and over again. Having the proper, I use all the sizes. I have so many more different size trays for the farm, because using the proper size tray on your heat mat and your grow lights just makes the most best use out of your stuff, right? So you'll find those. And something that I didn't show you, this is what an actual new clean soil blocker looks like. And these, we import them from England. This is the original Ladbroke brand. And this is the size blocker I use almost exclusively. We start cosmos, marigolds, zinnias, tomatoes, peppers, all of them in the small block. And it just goes, your space goes a lot further when you use a small block. And if you time it right, they do beautifully. And something I frequently get asked when I'm talking about cool season hardy annuals is, do you really need a heat mat for them? And yes, heat temperature change is part of what tells a seed to wake up, right? Now, granted, we don't want the seedling heat mat to be as hot as we want it when we're doing warm season, or as warm. So the way that I achieve that, our heat mat has a built-in thermostat, which is triggered from the air temperature, right? So you plug it in, you sow your seeds, and instead of placing your seed trays right on the heat mat for cool season, we actually place a cookie cooling rack on the heat mat, and that just creates a little buffer space. And that little buffer just cools the heat mat down just a smidgen. Still is warm 24/7, but it's not hot. And that makes more seeds germinate more uniformly, more quickly, and just moves you along in your process of what you're starting. Now, I don't have any water in here. Wait a minute, y'all. I thought I had water. I wanted to show you how I water my seedlings. So let me get some water. Okay. Watering is one of the most frequent questions that we get. So first off, I absolutely love this long spout, gentle pour watering can. It's down below. This holds 4 cups of water. So I brought a tray I water at dark 30 in the morning, right? You would normally water at night. But I don't think you can really tell. I didn't water these this morning purposely so I could show you tonight. When I place blocks on a tray, I tend to put them all to one side. So I create these wells where I can actually pour water and do it a little bit quicker. And so I'm just pouring the water in, and you soon learn how much to put. My goal is to put a smidgen more than I think that they need. And why do I want to do that? Because it takes it a minute to absorb the water. And if there's no water left in my tray, I think to myself, did I not put enough water in? And I know I didn't put enough water in this tray, because while the blocks on the edges might look like they're watered, the center still hasn't gotten any water. I might not have brought enough water over here, y'all. I didn't put much in this can. So you don't need to be concerned about overwatering. I think I did just put too much in. What I do is I water my whole room, and then I go back to the beginning and put my eyeball in every tray. If this tray in 2 to 5 minutes still has water standing in it, I simply just tilt it and pour it off. Let's see if I can dare do this. So I'm just tilting it and pouring the excess off back into the watering can. And if you go slow, you don't slide your blocks, y'all. And so that is how I water. And I absolutely love this watering can. And so the point is, you water in the morning, they're wet during the day. You never leave residual water in the bottom of the tray. They are in light all day and it's warm. They're drying out. They dry out overnight, and then you water them again the next morning. And that is the cycle of happiness for a seedling. So now I want to tell you what my schedule is, because I do certain things on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So we get lots of questions. So be sure you make a note of this if this is something that interests you. Now on Mondays, I add to the watering can. I love this stuff, y'all. This is Neptune seaweed fish. I've used it for 2 decades. It's made here in the United States. Love this stuff. Put 1 tablespoon to a gallon of water. I just add it to my big watering can on Mondays. And everybody that's under grow lights or out in the hardening off area gets watered with this. And so it's not an extra job. I just have to add it. And so the Neptune's Harvest, it's 18 ounces. It lasts a long time. I actually use they call it the house plant directions, is 1 tablespoon per gallon. And so anybody that's off the heat, once 50% I sow the seeds in the blocks, put them on a seedling heat mat. Once 50% of them show signs of sprouting, I move them off of the heat and take them over to grow lights. Everybody in grow lights gets this every single Monday. Then on Wednesdays, you haven't ever experienced fungus gnats, I am happy for you, but most of us have. Fungus gnats come in moist soil. It's like those little teeny gnats that fly around, and the key is to prevent them. These are mosquito bits, which is the same BT that is for fungus gnat larvae. So on Wednesdays, I put these bits, has the directions right on the bag, and I think it is 4 tablespoons to a gallon. So if you don't need a gallon, do 2 tablespoons and do half, right? Make it according to what you need. And this kills developing larvae in the moist soil where the adults lay their eggs. This prevention is the key to this. And then on Fridays, I really like using, this is, I didn't bring one over here. These are compost tea bags. They look just like a tea bag, y'all, and they have high quality compost in them. On Fridays, I like to do this a couple times a month. This does not replace feeding them on Monday. This adds great biology back into your soil and your soil blocks. And so I like to, like Thursday after I water, fill my watering can back up, drop this baby in, let it sit overnight. Aerating it makes it even more better biology. But all the directions are on here. Absolutely love these compost tea bags. It just, revs up your seedlings even more, right? So friends, I'm going to wrap it up now, but I do want to just talk about what's my plan for the snowstorm, right? Everybody, I've been inundated across all platforms, the office, the phone ringing. So I'm just going to tell you what kind of what I'm doing here for what my plan is. First off, I'm watching the weather like a hawk. 3 times a day, I'm checking the weather app just to see, because it's changing. It's already changed. We've gone from getting a lot of snow early on Saturday to now it's Saturday evening, right? And so what I'm looking for is what the precipitation is going to be and what the low temperature is going to be, because that's going to tell me when I need to take my covers off. So I use lightweight row cover, not for cold protection so much. It does that a little bit, but it's really the wind protection environments. It is not made to stand up under snow or ice load, right? They'll collapse. So what we're going to do is what you can do is watch the weather, and when precipitation, frozen type, ice or snow is imminent, we will go out and take our covers up. We're actually going to bring them inside where they will not freeze. What that does is gives us options. That means that if we get snow overnight on Saturday and on Sunday, that is the best thing, y'all, that can happen for your cool season hardy annuals. Your snow is so much better protector of our plants than that row cover ever dreamed about being, right? So getting your covers off, bring them in so you have options, which I'll tell you about in a second. And then if it snows and snows deep, that is the best ever for your flower. The happiest people in my city will be my cool flowers underneath all that snow, right? They're totally protected. The problem comes for us is that we are hidden into some really deep, low temperatures at nights for over the next 2 weeks. And I know that snow's going to melt because it happens quickly here. We'll have one afternoon where the temperatures will come up. The beds will just melt. All of a sudden, all the plants are exposed again. And that's when we'll take our covers back out and protect them. And so that's why taking your covers up and just balling them up, and it'll be a wet job. Andrew and I are going to do it together, and they'll probably be wet, but our temperatures are so low here that I'm afraid to take them up early. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. You can find row cover on our website, and I talk about in the cut flower handbook. So a couple of places tell you what the low survival temperature is for cool flowers. On that seed starting worksheet that comes with the calendar, it's on there. It's in the cut flower handbook. And so we have a lot of resources to help you, and then make big notes on your big calendar. That'll really, really help you. And I just want to remind y'all, please give us a follow if you're enjoying the live gardening show. And remember that over on the on the gardenersworkshop.com, we have so many resources for you guys, and everything we do is for you. So please give us a thumbs up, give us a follow. And I hope that you can relax if you're heading into the snowstorm. People are pretty intense, but I'm telling you that cool flowers were made for this kind of weather. They love a blanket of snow. So relax, but just take your covers up. You have to have faith. You have to trust the process, y'all. Okay? Trust the process. All right, my friends, I see everybody, and thank you all for being here. And I see sunflower emojis, and we will see. So I'm doing a show at 8:00 tonight inside my app. Meet me over there. Or remember, Friday is our big show in the app, the big live gardening show, 12 noon Eastern time. If you don't have my shop app, it's free. You can go to your phone's app store, search Gardener's Workshop, download the shop app, and meet me in there at 8:00. And then again on Friday, when you're in the app, I can actually see you, and we do a live Q&A in there, and it's a lot of fun. So, my friends, keep warm and don't worry about your cool flowers if you've done your jobs, right? Ciao.